Hello everyone, this is Kyle at Mill Street Gardens, and we are a nursery in Clyde, New York, and right now we have tons of plants blooming. So I just wanted to take you along and show you some of the plants that we have blooming in our gardens this time of year and what we have blooming in the nursery. So we're going to start right here with we have a big selection of native plants here. So I'll start with some of our most beautiful native plants. The spotted milkweed, and this is a milkweed that grows up to 5 feet tall or 4 feet tall and has beautiful pink flowers on it that are very fragrant, and of course pollinators love it, and so do the monarch butterflies. So hopefully if you have this planted in your yard, keep a lookout for some caterpillars on it. Got some interesting different wasps right now. So it's interesting the bugs that the plants bring to your yard when you plant them. Of course, so this one's called swamp milkweed, but you don't need to plant it in a swamp. You can just plant it in your yard. And then the opposite, basically, is orange milkweed, because that likes more of a drier condition. It has beautiful orange flowers on it. And next to that, our boneset is another native plant that's starting to bloom. So it's kind of like more of a flossy flower on it, like a ageratum. And this one will get up to 5 feet tall, and I just like how this one looks. Like the leaves look different than anything else in the garden. So if you come to the nursery, you'll see that the plants are labeled, and it tells you, what it attracts and that type of stuff on it. Over here, we have a lot of coneflowers for sale at the nursery, but here's one that's planted, so I'd show you. We did see a couple monarch butterflies on it yesterday. The butterflies really like this plant, as well as the bees. And behind it, this candelabra-like plant is a veronicastrum, and that's another native wildflower. Something that's not native, but it's beautiful and attracts a lot of pollinators, is the butterfly bush. And this one is lavender cupcake. And this one's nice because it stays on the shorter side. If you want a smaller, I had a time finding the lens. So that one gets 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. This is the invincible lace. It's just kind of coming out of bloom, so we'll skip past that, I guess. Another hydrangea. And then here's another native wildflower, the cardinal flower. And this one blooms for a while. It's already been blooming for like a week now. And this one has the red flowers on it, so the hummingbirds do find it very attractive. And then I'm going to swing over here slowly, because we have another cardinal flower. So that one's Lobelia cardinalis, and this one's Lobelia speciosa. And the flowers on this one are a little bit bigger. And this is a cultivated version, so of course they made the leaves a copper color, which is a nice contrast to add to the garden. We have a native cultivated shrub. This one's proven winners, the St. John's wort. And we're actually growing the straight species from seed this year, so we'll have that straight species available late this fall or early next year. So pollinators are loving it, and they have these beautiful yellow flowers on it. So there's different forms of St. John's wort. There's like the herbaceous forms, and there's also shrub forms. Next to this plant is the potentilla, which is another native shrub. They look really similar, but they're actually very different. So from afar, they look similar, like a green shrub with yellow flowers, but the structures of the leaves are quite different, and the structure of the flower isn't the same. The potentilla does bloom for a lot longer. This will bloom almost the whole season. So here's an echinacea that we have. This one is the double-coated raspberry beret. This one's a double form. So they come out looking like a regular one, and then the flower just keeps on developing. This is our native Coreopsis rosea. Has beautiful pink flowers on it. So all this stuff is a nice way to add color to your garden this time of year when a lot of the spring stuff isn't blooming anymore. Our black-eyed Susan, a native cultivar, Goldstrom. And here's another coreopsis. This one's called Zagreb. This one blooms for a long time too. They don't bloom as long as when they're in the pots. They kind of fizzle out quicker. But if this is planted in your landscape, it'll bloom for a long time. And then we have another native wildflower, the blanket flower, which is a nice plant because it stays on the shorter side. And it also blooms for a really long time if you keep on deadheading it. Over here we have some ornamental oregano blooming. This is a nice plant because you can use it as oregano, I think, if you want. And has a nice foliage color as well as a pretty flowers. That's nifty. Over here we have our liatris, another wildflower. Blooms from top to bottom, which is unusual. It's just beautiful. A nice foliage texture. And next to this we have our Russian sage. So a nice plant that likes full sun. That cultivar doesn't get very big, which is nice. Oh, and then our ornamental lilies are blooming right now. We have lots of limelights. I got some displayed up here and we have them throughout. This is my favorite hydrangea. It grows 6 to 8 feet tall and has these beautiful blooms on it. If it's planted in the ground, the blooms get much larger. And I just love paniculata hydrangeas because they bloom for a really long time and they look good all the way once they start blooming all the way through the rest of the year. Corbels almost always have flowers on them. Over here we have a beautiful hyssop, golden jubilee. This is not native, but I guess the pollinators don't mind. They look like they're having a blast. Oh, our crocosmia is starting to bloom. Kind of gives you an idea what the flowers will look like when they're open. A lot of stuff is putting on smaller reblooms. So we cut our foxglove back, for example. And when you cut plants back, oftentimes they'll give you another rebloom on it. You know, we have a rogue columbine flower, but it did send up new fresh foliage after we cut it back, so that's good. All right. Ooh, look at that. Hopefully the camera catches it. We got a monarch butterfly over here. It's chowing on our oregano. Oh, it's so pretty. It looks like it was like just hatched. It's like fresh. I'm scared to zoom in on it or get too close. Wow. Super cool. The little tiny one. All right, we'll let him do his little thing over here. It's rude to stare. All right, so we got our geraniums over here. This is Roseanne, which is a nice hardy geranium. I don't think it blooms as earlier as some of these other ones, but it's another one that once it gets going, just keeps on going. I'm trying to blast this real quick because I'm scared of the battery dying. So we got our beautiful phlox. So we had a couple different colors, but this is all we have left is this white one, which is beautiful. And this is another native cultivated plant. Pollinators love them. I often see butterflies on them. And this one's nice because, you know, it blooms, but then it just keeps on sending up new ones. So this is the Proven Linner's backlight. Of course, right now we have the Picantha muticum. This is covered with flowers. It actually has like silvery bracts, and then if you get really close, you'll see little tiny flowers, and that's what the pollinators are going after. Super cool. So it's a native Picantha muticum mountain mint. There's my Miscanthus giganteus. I know it's not blooming, but I just wanted to show it because I think it's a cool grass. So our little beos are back here. I put the ones that were blooming up front. So we have the two that I showed you, and then we also have the blue one, which is budding up. So this one does bloom a little bit later. Right here we have our cutleaf rudbeckia. It's just starting to bloom. I'll show you what this looks like in the garden, only because it's right there. I won't drag you through the whole showcase garden. Some more echinaceas. So we got a nice stand of the beret ones right here. They're so pretty. And they also kind of come out orange looking like that, and then they fade to this raspberry color. We got the yellow echinaceas, the canary feathers. We got just a couple of the Magnus left. We have a lot of purple ones in production, but they're definitely far from being ready. It's like slower growing, the seedlings, compared to some other plants. And the Cheyenne Spirit, which kind of shoots out different colors. That's what it looks like on the tag. More blanket flowers. I think we'll get some rain. It always says it's going to rain, but then it never does. Okay, over here we have our hens and chicks, and they're actually blooming right now. So after they bloom, that plant's going to die, but it's going to be replaced by those little guys over here. All right. Last but not least, we have our beautiful Rhonicastrum over here. And these are covered with pollinators. It's another native wildflower. So it looks really good. Kind of want to see if that's blooming in the garden over here now. So here's that cutleaf rudbeckia. So it doesn't look like what it looks like in the pot. In the landscape, this is like 8 feet tall right now. It's just starting to bloom. It is not blooming right now, but isn't that cool? So I got like 6 or 7 plants over here, and I think they're just like so cool in the garden. So we got that, and then behind it, the Miscanthus giganteus. A lot of the stuff I just showed you, we have planted over here, the mountain mint or whatever. So I'm not gonna go too farther because we'll do a garden tour soon. All right, let's see if we have some blooming shrubs. I think I showed you the St. John's wort already, and we got a couple different types of butterfly bushes. So lavender cupcake, this is the Nanho. So if you want a bigger style one, the Nanho blue gets bigger, and the Grand Cascade only gets like 5 feet tall, I think. 5 to 6 feet tall, but the space, it can get up to like 8 feet wide because it's just like a weeping variety. The elderberries are blooming right now. That's cool. So those will have berries on them. As you can see, we got another one over there. I'll use my finger to point to it. Oh yeah, and then the hydrangeas over here. I'll run through these real quick. So we got bluebird. So that one that changes color based on acidity. So they call it bluebird because it can be blue. And that's a mountain hydrangea. We have the pink diamond, which has like a pentacle, but has flowers on inside the fake flowers. And those fade to a pink color that look really pretty. Our limelights, our PGs are just starting to bud up. And they call this tree hydrangea. It can get up to like 20 feet tall. And then we have a whole slew of proven winter hydrangeas over here. So most of these stay on the shorter side. So Limelight Prime right here gets 4 to 6 feet tall. And it's very similar to the Limelight, except it's smaller. We have a Little Lime, which is a nice 3 to 5 feet tall. I don't know why I like that one so much. I have one planted in our yard, and it's in a actually shady spot. It does really good, even though this type of hydrangea likes the sun. Firelight Tidbit. So this one maxes at 3 feet. And this is what the flowers look like. Oops. Get back on there. See, I do it now because if I forget, if I don't do it right now, I'll forget. And then it's Monday, it'll blow away. So these are two small arborescents. We got Mini Mavet. Hasn't started to bloom yet because I cut it back a couple times to promote bushing. But they do bloom on new wood. And the wee white. Here's our Annabelle hydrangea. Isn't that cool? Giant flowers. They are prone to flopping the first couple years. And even after that, but they won't flop as much as this once they get some sturdy stems on them. And then the Invincible Lace, which is a little bit past, but even though it's past, it does keep on sending up new flowers here and there. And the past blooms look pretty too. And then over here we have our oak leaf hydrangeas, which aren't blooming, but they would have blooms on them. Once again, I chopped them so we can see how it bifurcates. That's where I chopped it. Honestly, I probably should have chopped it one more time. But they grew really fast once I brought them out to the sales floor. So they still look really good. And they bloom on old wood, so they're not going to bloom this year. And then we have our pufferfish. We have one little pufferfish. This is a hydrangea that gets covered with white flowers and stays relatively compact, 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. So anyways, I think that's everything that's blooming right now. We have a ton of stuff blooming in the nursery right now. So if you're looking for either native options or stuff that's just blooming right now because you have kind of a lull in color in your garden, I hope that this video provided some inspiration on some plants that you can add to your garden right now. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description section below. Thank you.